The loud music echoed through the grand hall. Golden lights sparkled across the ceiling. Guests laughed and danced, and everything looked perfect, just like a dream wedding. Except this dream wasn't mine. I stood at the edge of the dance floor, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would tear through my chest. Everyone was clapping for the newlyweds as they stepped onto the floor for their first dance. But they didn't notice me. Not yet. My so-called best friend, Darren, in a shiny black tux, held my ex-fiancée, Leah, in his arms. She wore the exact dress we picked together months ago. The same one she cried about because she wanted it to be perfect for us. I watched them spin slowly, smiling at each other, completely unaware that their perfect little lie was about to crash. Because the wedding venue they were standing in, this stunning hall filled with over 300 guests, imported flowers, champagne fountains, and a $5,000 cake, was still in my name. And I was about to shut it down. I pulled out my phone, already halfway through the message to the event coordinator. Just a simple text. One tap. That was all it would take to turn their fairy tale into a nightmare. But then, I saw Darren's mom walking toward the stage with a mic. She was about to give a speech. I paused. No, let her talk first. Let them all enjoy their last perfect moment before I burned it to the ground. They had no idea what was coming. Now, let me tell you how we got here. It started a year ago, the night Leah first met Darren. I had brought him along to her birthday dinner. He was my childhood friend, like a brother. We played soccer together as kids, skipped school together, even got suspended once for pulling a prank on our principal. If there was one person in the world I trusted with my life, it was him. And Leah? She was the woman I had planned to marry since the first month we met. She was smart, kind, and had this laugh that made even the worst days feel light. I was sure she was the one, but now I know they both fooled me. Back then, though, everything seemed perfect. We had just gotten engaged. Leah had cried when I proposed. Darren had hugged me tightly and said, "You're the luckiest guy in the world, bro." I believed him. Over the next few months, he became a regular visitor at our house. Sometimes I come home from work and find him already there, chilling with Leah, both of them laughing about something. I didn't think it was strange. They were friends, right? I even liked that they got along. But then small things started to happen. One night, I saw Leah texting someone and smiling. I asked her who it was, and she just said, "Oh, it's just a meme from my cousin." I didn't press her. I trusted her. Another time, I planned a surprise dinner for her and asked Darren to help me with the setup. He acted strange that day, quiet, distracted, and even suggested I cancel the dinner because Leah seemed tired lately. I brushed it off. The signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. Then came the trip to Ghana. My boss sent me on a 2-week work assignment. I kissed Leah goodbye, asked Darren to check in on her while I was gone, and flew out. I sent her flowers from Accra, called every night, and even bought her a handmade bracelet from the local market. But what I didn't know was that while I was sweating in boardrooms and eating hotel food, they were busy playing house. I only found out by accident. 1 week after I returned, Leah's laptop crashed, and she asked me to help fix it. While doing that, a message popped up on her screen. It was from Darren. It said, "Last night was perfect. Wish we didn't have to hide this anymore." My heart stopped. I didn't say anything. I just closed the laptop and told her I'd try again later. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, thinking, breaking apart every moment in my head, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe I misunderstood. The next morning, I copied everything from her laptop onto a flash drive and took it to a friend who worked in IT. 2 days later, I had everything. Messages, photos, voice notes. They've been seeing each other for 6 months. 6. And it wasn't just cheating. It was love letters, romantic plans, jokes about me. They even joked about using my money to plan their future. I didn't cry. Not one tear. Instead, I got quiet. I told no one. Not yet. Because if there's one thing I've learned from pain, it's that the best revenge is quiet. Slow. Planned. I knew their wedding was coming up. They had already announced it publicly. Leah didn't even have the guts to break up with me properly. She just said she needed time to think and left me with a ring and a lie. What she didn't know was I never took my name off the venue papers. I had booked that venue for our wedding months ago, paid in full, in my name. When she and Darren decided to use it, they must have assumed I wouldn't care or wouldn't notice. Maybe they thought I was too heartbroken to fight back. But they were wrong. I waited. I waited through every Instagram post, every wedding prep photo, every smile they posted for likes. Until today. Now here we are, in this hall, with their names on the banner, and my name on the ownership papers. The event coordinator stood near the back, watching me, waiting for my signal. I stared at Leah and Darren, still dancing like nothing could touch them. My fingers hovered over the screen. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered. Someone screamed. And just like that, everything stopped. The music cut off. The air went cold. People started whispering. Something big was about to happen. The lights snapped back on, but the damage was done. The moment was ruined. The guests were confused, whispering and turning toward the stage. Darren and Leah stopped mid-spin. She looked around nervously, and he tightened his grip on her hand. Then the microphone screeched. The event coordinator, a tall woman named Miss Ada, walked onto the stage in her sleek black dress, holding a piece of paper in one hand and her phone in the other. Her face was calm, but her eyes scanned the room like a lion ready to pounce. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said into the mic, her voice cool and professional. "We apologize for the sudden technical glitch. But before we continue, I have been instructed to make a very important announcement." My heart was pounding. Leah frowned. Darren raised an eyebrow. Miss Ada cleared her throat. "There's been a legal update regarding the ownership of this venue. As of this morning, the person legally recognized as the sole client and payer for this hall is..." She paused, letting the silence stretch like a rubber band. "Mr. Emmanuel Kale." Heads turned, all at once. Eyes locked onto me. Gasps shot through the room like fireworks. Leah looked stunned. Darren's smile vanished. Miss Ada continued. "Unfortunately, since no written permission was obtained from the client to authorize the use of this space today, we must suspend this event until proper approval is granted." That was the moment. The exact moment their world crumbled. I walked slowly toward the stage. Calm. Steady. Every eye followed me. The whispers grew louder. My heart felt like it was going to explode, but I didn't blink. Darren jumped off the dance floor and stormed toward me. "What the hell are you doing, bro?" "Bro?" I laughed. Not loud. Just enough. "Don't call me that," I said. "Not after what you did." Leah was behind him now, looking pale. "Emmanuel, please, this isn't the time. There are people watching." I turned to her. "You didn't care about people watching when you were sneaking into his apartment every weekend." Boom. That did it. The hall went dead silent. Leah's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Darren clenched his fists. "We can talk about this later," he said, trying to keep his voice low. "No," I said. "We talk now, in front of everyone. Just like you paraded this fake love in front of everyone." Miss Ada, bless her heart, stepped back and gave me the stage. I turned to the crowd. I was supposed to marry Leah. This hall was booked for our wedding. I paid for it. I designed it. I even picked that stage you're standing on. Darren, my best friend, knew this. But while I was planning a life with her, he was busy building one behind my back. Gasps again. An older man dropped his champagne glass. Somewhere in the back, someone said, "Nawa, oh." Leah started crying. "Please, just stop." But I wasn't done. "Oh, and just so you all know," I said, raising my phone, "I have proof. Messages, photos. Everything. They've been seeing each other for over 6 months. While we were engaged, I could hear a woman sobbing. Darren's mom, probably." Darren grabbed my arm. "Stop embarrassing us, man." I looked him straight in the eyes. "You embarrassed yourself the day you betrayed your friend for a woman you had to steal." The security men started to step forward, but I raised a hand. "Don't worry. I'm not here to cause trouble." I turned back to Miss Ada. "You may continue the cancellation. Shut all down." And just like that, one by one, the lights dimmed. The music was off. The caterers started packing up. The fountain stopped bubbling. Guests started grabbing their bags, murmuring as they walked out. Darren just stood there, stunned. Leah dropped to her knees and started sobbing. I didn't even look back. I walked out of that hall like I had just set fire to a castle and left it to burn behind me. But that was just the beginning, because the next day, I posted everything online. The story, the messages, the photos. an entire folder of betrayal, and it went viral. But let me take you back a bit to before all this, when I still thought the world was good and friendship meant loyalty. It was about 2 months after I proposed to Leah. We were in a very good place, or so I thought. One weekend, I suggested we go on a getaway to Obudu for a few days. She said she couldn't make it because of family stuff. That same weekend, Darren asked me if I wanted to catch a match. I declined because I figured I'd use the time to clean the house, maybe surprise Leah with a few fixes and her favorite dinner when she came back. But something felt weird, so I called her mom just to say hi. That's when the first red flag hit. "Oh, Leah's not with me, dear," her mom said. "She told me she was traveling with you." I didn't know what to say. I told her I must have gotten the dates wrong and ended the call. From that moment, I started paying attention. And what I saw, what I found, would change everything. One night, I followed Leah. I know it sounds bad, but I needed to know the truth. She left the house dressed up and told me she was meeting her friend Rachel. But I trailed her taxi, and guess where she ended up? Darren's building. I parked nearby, heart racing, hands shaking. She didn't even look back. She went in like she had done it 100 times before. I waited. 1 hour. Then 2. By the 3rd hour, I had seen enough. I left without letting them know I was there. I wasn't ready to confront them yet. I wanted to collect everything. The next few weeks, I played it cool. I smiled. I acted normal. I even went out with Darren for drinks. But every day, I was collecting evidence. Messages, emails, timestamps. I had enough to bury them both. Then they announced their wedding. That's when I knew. It was time. They wanted to use my venue. The same place I dreamed of getting married. That was the final insult. So I let the go ahead. And I planned my moment. A moment they would never forget. But as I left that wedding hall, feeling like I finally got my revenge, I got a call. It was from my bank. "There's been a suspicious withdrawal attempt from your account, sir. Someone tried to use your identity to access your business funds." I froze, because only 2 people had access to that account information, me and Darren. And just like that, I realized this wasn't over yet. I pressed the phone harder to my ear. "Sorry, what did you just say?" I asked, even though I'd heard every word. The woman on the line repeated calmly, "Sir, someone attempted to withdraw 2.5 million Nigerian nairas from your account this afternoon using a signature that doesn't match your current records. We flagged it as suspicious and blocked the transaction. But we advise you to come in immediately to confirm and secure your account." My mind went blank for a second. Darren. It had to be him. He had helped me register that business account when we were starting my side hustle in web design 2 years ago. He even convinced me to let him hold copies of the documents just in case. I never thought it would come back to bite me. Back then, he was my most trusted person. More than a friend, he was family. Now he was a thief. I thanked the woman and ended the call. My hands were shaking, but I was too angry to let them show. He had already taken my fiancée, humiliated me, and now he wanted to steal from me too? I got into my car and drove straight to the bank. The manager, Mr. Ayai, met me personally. "We're glad you came in," he said, leading me to his office. "We already blocked the account temporarily, but we need to verify some things." He pulled out a document, the withdrawal slip. I looked at the signature. Sloppy, not even close to mine, but the account number was correct. The name too. Everything else was filled out properly. Whoever filled that form knew the system. I nodded. This wasn't me. I want the account locked. Permanently. And I want a new one opened. No links to this old one. He agreed quickly. "We'll handle it." As I walked out of the bank, a storm was already building inside me. Darren wasn't just a backstabbing friend. He was a criminal now. And if he thought I'd let this go just because I ruined his wedding day, he had another thing coming. That night, I sat down and went through every memory I had of him. Every business idea we started together, every file we worked on, every shared login we ever created. I changed all my passwords, closed down old folders, called vendors to make sure no fake invoices had been submitted. I was cleaning house. But the next morning, I got another shock. There was a message waiting for me. A video, sent anonymously. No number. It opened to grainy footage, clearly CCTV. I saw myself walking into a store. Then I saw Darren walking in behind me moments later. He didn't talk to me. Didn't say a word. He just followed me closely, like a shadow. I never noticed. Then the camera cut to outside, Darren taking a photo of my car plate. I paused the video. Why? Why was he tailing me before I even knew about the affair? Suddenly, I felt something deeper was going on. This wasn't just about Leah. Something else was in play. The video had a short message at the bottom. You don't know the whole story. He's not who you think. My hand grew cold. I looked out the window, half expecting someone to be watching me right now. Who sent? I forwarded it to a tech friend who could trace the source. Then I sat back and tried to breathe. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This time from Leah. Please. I didn't know Darren was trying to steal from you. I didn't sign anything. Can we talk? I almost laughed. She still had the nerve. I replied, meet me tomorrow, 6 p.m., at the coffee shop by the bridge. Come alone. The next evening, I got there early. Sat at a corner table, facing the entrance. I wanted to see her face the moment she walked in. She came in wearing sunglasses, like she was in a movie. No makeup. She looked tired, older, like the weight of everything had finally hit her. She sat down across from me. Thanks for meeting me, she said quietly. I didn't answer. She sighed. I know what I did was wrong. I'm not here to defend it. Then why are you here? I asked. Because Darren is dangerous, she whispered. I stared at her. You just realized that after your wedding day? She looked around, lowering her voice. He changed, Emmanuel. After you left for that trip to Ghana, he started getting controlling. Paranoid. He had this folder on his laptop with your photos, your business contracts, your IDs. I asked him why, and he said it was backup in case something ever happened to you. I blinked. And that didn't seem suspicious to you? I didn't know what to think, she said. Then I found out he was planning something with your company. He wanted to fake invoices, sign off payments using your signature. I told him to stop. We fought. That's why he proposed so quickly. To distract me. I leaned back. So what? You're a victim now. No, she said, shaking her head. I just want you to be careful. He's not done with you. I didn't know what to believe anymore. She had lied too many times. But something in her eyes, it felt real. Or scared. Maybe both. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message from my tech guy. I traced the video. It came from Darren's old laptop. Leaked through an auto backup system he forgot to disable. Someone's trying to help you from inside. Inside? Inside what? Suddenly, I realized I didn't know Darren as well as I thought I did. There were things beneath the surface I hadn't even scratched. And just as I stood to leave, my phone rang. It was my mother. She was crying. Emmanuel, your father's store, someone broke in. They smashed everything. Said to tell you this is only the beginning. I froze. The coffee shop disappeared. Leah's voice faded. My blood went cold. He was attacking my family now. This wasn't a breakup. It was war. I sped through traffic like a madman, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My mother's voice kept replaying in my head. They smashed everything. They left a note. It said this is only the beginning. By the time I got to my father's store, the front windows were shattered. The metal gate bent inward like it had been rammed by a car. Neighbors stood in small clusters outside, whispering and shaking their heads. My younger brother was inside, sweeping broken glass into a pile, his face blank, too shocked to be angry. My dad sat on a stool in the corner, holding a bloody cloth to his forehead. Who did this? I asked. My mom handed me a small, folded paper the police had collected from the floor. One line was written in red marker. Tell Emmanuel to watch his back. Next time, it'll be worse. There was no name, no signature, just rage. I clenched the paper in my fist, feeling the weight of everything. He wasn't trying to just ruin me anymore. He wanted to destroy me. Slowly, completely. And now he had made it personal. I spent the rest of the evening helping clean the store. My dad refused to go to the hospital, saying it was just a cut. But my mom wouldn't stop pacing. She kept whispering prayers under her breath. When we were done, I promised them I'd handle it. And I meant it. I'd stayed quiet long enough. Played calm. Got my revenge at the wedding. But Darren had upped the game. Now was my turn. Back at my apartment, I opened an old folder Darren and I had created during the early days of my business. I remembered something. He had once sent a project file using his personal email. Something rare. something he swore he never used for serious stuff. I typed in a few guesses until I got the email right. Then I used a trick my tech friend had taught me. I sent a password reset using the backup questions. Darren was lazy. He used the same answers for everything. His dog's name, his favorite movie, the street he grew up on. 3 tries later, I was in. The inbox was a mess. Hundreds of unread messages. Mostly junk. But one folder caught my eye. Safe. I opened it. Inside were over 30 files. Some PDFs. Some photos. Some labeled with dates and code names. One read. Emmanuel, client files and business agreements. Another. Leah plan, keep/drop. I stared at the screen, heart racing. He had been planning something for a long time. I opened the Leah file. Inside were notes. About her schedule. Her weaknesses. How to manipulate her. How to use her to collapse me emotionally. It wasn't love. It was a setup. A distraction. I felt sick. Then I opened the file with my name. Inside were scanned copies of my old contracts, client briefs, NDAs, even my signature from old invoices. He had been collecting all of it. For what? Why? There was also a voice recording file. I clicked play. Darren's voice came through, muffled, like he was speaking through his phone in a car. Once the wedding is done, we'll launch the fake site under his name, push the payments through the back door, and leave the original one to crash. If he catches on, it's his word against the paper trail. Everything looks like he did it. He'll lose his clients, his rep, and maybe even get arrested. I already have backups of all his IDs. Just need one more signature. I stopped breathing. Darren wasn't just bitter. He wanted to erase me, set me up for fraud, take my life, and leave me blamed for the mess. I copied every file, every recording, every note. I packed it all into a folder and backed it up in 2 different clouds, plus a flash drive I kept hidden in my room. Now I had the evidence. Now it was time to act. I went to the police the next morning. But like most things in this city, they said, this is a civil matter. Get a lawyer. We can't act without a formal petition. So I called my lawyer, Barrister Chuka. Sharp man. No nonsense. After I showed him the files, he looked at me and said, we're going to bury him. We drafted the petition that day. Fraud, identity theft, attempted financial sabotage, personal threats, property damage. But before we could file it formally, I got another message. This one was a video, again from an unknown number. This time it was Leah. She was in a room, crying, her makeup smeared, and her voice shook as she said, he knows. He found out I told you everything. He's locked me in here. Emmanuel, he said if you don't back off, something bad is going to happen to your family. Please don't let him hurt anyone. The screen went black. I froze. Everything went quiet in my apartment. I could hear the ticking of the clock on the wall. It sounded louder than ever. I looked out my window. The same white car I'd seen yesterday was parked across the street again. Watching. He had Leah. He was watching my house. He had already attacked my dad's store. This had gone far beyond revenge. Now, I called Chuka. We have to go faster, I said. He has Leah. He's threatening my family. Chuka didn't even hesitate. We'll file with the commissioner of police directly. I'll take the files to the media too. If we make this public, he won't be able to hide. But before we could do that, I got another call, this time from an unknown voice. A man, deep, cold, calculated. You should have stayed quiet, Emmanuel, he said. Now we have your little brother. My heart dropped, and the line went dead. I stared at my phone, willing it to ring again, hoping maybe it was a cruel joke. But nothing happened. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. My little brother, Toby, he was only 17. He barely spoke to anyone outside the family. What did he ever do to deserve this? My first instinct was to call my mom, but I stopped myself. If they really had Toby, calling home might put the whole family at more risk. Instead, I texted my friend Jude, who lived down the street from my parents. Go check if Toby is at home. Don't let anyone see you. Call me after. Those next 10 minutes felt like 10 years. When Jude finally called, his voice was shaking. He's not here, Emmanuel. Your mom thinks he went to buy suya. He left an hour ago and never came back. My hands trembled. My thoughts spun out of control. Suya, that's just down the road. He never stayed out this long. I tried to think straight. If Darren wanted to hurt me, he would use my brother as a warning. But if he really meant to go that far, Who knew what he might do next? I needed help. Real help. Not just police reports. I called Chuka again, my words spilling over each other. Chuka, they have my brother. This is not just about Leah or money. He's got Toby. We need to act now. Chuka was silent for a moment, then said, "Send me every detail you have. Location, messages, everything. I know a detective who doesn't wait for bureaucracy. Meet me at my office in 30 minutes." I jumped into my car and drove, barely remembering the roads. The sky had turned dark, thunder rumbling in the distance. It felt like even the city itself was holding its breath. When I reached Chuka's office, he introduced me to Detective Maku, a tall, serious woman with sharp eyes. She listened quietly as I explained, showing her the texts, the videos, even the paper note from my father's store. She nodded. "He's escalating. He wants to break you. But desperate people make mistakes. We can use that." She had me call Darren's number on speaker, with Chuka and Maka listening in. It rang once, twice. Then Darren answered, his voice smug. "You're faster than I thought. Did you get my message?" "Let Toby go, Darren. This is between you and me." He laughed low and cold. "It stopped being just us the moment you humiliated me. Now you'll learn what it feels like to lose everything. You want your brother back? Meet me tomorrow. The abandoned warehouse by the river. Come alone. No police, no lawyers. If I see anyone else, you'll never see your brother again." The call ended before I could respond. Detective Maku scribbled something in her notebook. "He wants you isolated. That means he's nervous. He might not have as much control as he wants you to believe. But what if he hurts Toby?" I said, feeling helpless. She put a hand on my shoulder. "We'll get your brother back. But you have to follow my instructions exactly. If you go alone, he wins. If you panic, he wins. We do this smart." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Toby's face, scared and alone. My mother kept calling, asking if I'd heard from him. I lied, telling her Toby was safe with me. The guilt twisted inside me like a knife. The next morning, before sunrise, I met with Detective Maku and her team. She had disguised plainclothes officers waiting at strategic points near the warehouse. I had a tiny mic clipped under my shirt and a panic button sewn into my jacket. Chuka waited with the police van 2 blocks away, ready to storm in if things went bad. I drove to the warehouse, my stomach churning. The air smelled of oil and river mud. The place was half collapsed, windows shattered, graffiti everywhere. I walked in calling Darren. "I'm here. Where's my brother?" Darren stepped out from behind a rusted pillar, looking wild-eyed and sweaty. His hand gripped Toby's shoulder. My brother's face was pale, but he looked unharmed. "You really brought company, didn't you?" Darren snarled, glancing at the windows. "I can feel them watching." I raised my hands. "I'm here, just like you asked. Let him go." Darren laughed, but it sounded forced, desperate. "Do you know what it's like to lose everything, Emmanuel? To watch your whole life get handed to someone else? That's what you did to me. You always had the jobs, the family, the girl." "That's not true," I said, trying to keep him talking. "You were my brother. I shared everything with you." He shook his head. "Not enough. Never enough." Suddenly, Toby jerked away from him, breaking free. In that split second, Detective Maku's voice came crackling in my ear. "Now!" The warehouse doors burst open. Officers swarmed in, pinning Darren before he could run. It was over in seconds. I ran to Toby and hugged him, feeling his skinny arms wrap around me, shaking. Darren fought and screamed as they dragged him away. His eyes were wild, full of hate. "You haven't won, Emmanuel. You hear me? You haven't won." But as the handcuffs clicked shut, I knew he had lost. His plan, his lies, his cruelty, it all ended there on that dirty warehouse floor. But the story didn't end. As I drove Toby home, both of us too tired to speak, my phone buzzed again. Another message from that anonymous number. "You stopped Darren, but someone else was watching everything. Be careful who you trust next. This isn't finished." My blood ran cold. Was there another enemy hiding in the shadows? The relief of having Toby back was real, but it only lasted a few hours. At home, my family cried, hugged Toby, and kept thanking God for his safe return. But my mind was somewhere else, stuck on the last words from the anonymous message. "This isn't finished. Who could it be? Who else was involved? I didn't have any more close friends. Darren was the only one I ever trusted. Leah was too shaken to be plotting anything else. Still, I barely slept, checking the windows every hour, listening for strange cars outside. The next morning, Detective Mako called. We've started interrogating Darren. He's not saying much yet, but we did find more files on his laptop. Lists of your clients, forged documents, even scripts for scam phone calls. He planned to ruin your business and blame it on you. I nodded, feeling the old anger bubble up, but it was mixed with a new, icy fear. Darren was behind bars, but someone else had helped him, someone who still had access to my life. At noon, Leah called again, her voice thin and scared. I'm so sorry, Emmanuel. I never thought it would get this far. There's something you should know. I got a message last night, too, from an old friend of Darren's. He said I should leave town or they'll come after me next. Who? I pressed. What's the name? She hesitated. I think it's Tunji. He and Darren went to university together. I met him at a party once. He works in IT now. He's smart. He used to hack into school computers for fun. A cold chill crept down my spine. I remembered Tunji, quiet, always. I never trusted him, but Darren always insisted he was harmless. He has access to everything, Leo whispered. Emails, bank accounts, social media. He could ruin both of us. I thanked her and hung up, then quickly called Chuka and Detective Maku. We need to find Tunji. Fast. Maku wasted no time. She pulled his name from the police database. He's been linked to 3 cyber crimes, but never caught. His last known address is on the island, but he moves a lot. We'll try to track him down. For days, my life became a maze of passwords, security questions, and sleepless nights. Every time I opened my laptop, I half expected my screen to go black, my accounts to be empty, my business to disappear with one click. Then one evening, as the rain hammered on my window, my phone rang again. It was an unknown number, but I answered. A distorted voice came through, masked by some kind of software. You think it's over, Emmanuel, but you're only at the beginning. Darren was stupid and greedy. But the voice paused and changed slightly. I'm patient. I like to watch. Tell the police, and I'll release every private file you ever owned. Emails, photos, your client's secrets, your family's secrets. I already have it all. My hand shook. What do you want? The voice laughed. I want you to disappear. Leave the city. Close your business. Start a new life somewhere far away, where you'll watch your world burn, piece by piece. The call ended. I sank onto my bed, my mind racing. If Tunji really had everything, he could destroy not just my reputation, but my whole family's safety. I met Chuka and Detective Maku early the next morning in her office. I showed them the recording. Maku shook her head. We'll set up a digital trap. If he tries to access your accounts, we'll catch his location. But you need to act like you're giving up. Let him think he's won. That's the only way he'll make a mistake. So I play my part. I posted online that I was closing my business, thanking my clients for their support. I told friends I was moving abroad for a fresh start. Even Leah called me, asking if it was true, and I told her yes. Inside, I was boiling. Every day, I watched as fake news about me started appearing online. Anonymous posts saying I was a fraud, that I had stolen money, even screenshots of forged emails that made me look guilty. Tunji was fast and clever, but he didn't know we were ready. On the 4th day, Detective Maku called with excitement in her voice. He slipped up. He tried to hack your main email from a cafe on the mainland. We have his face on CCTV, and the cafe owner recognized him. That evening, the police raided Tunji's apartment. They found hard drives, stacks of fake SIM cards, and even a folder labeled Emmanuel, Total Ruin. But Tunji was gone. He had packed a small bag and disappeared just hours before. As I stared at the CCTV photo, I realized something. Tunji wasn't just another enemy. He was obsessed. He didn't care about money or revenge anymore. He wanted to see me lose, to see me run. But I wasn't going anywhere. If he wanted to come after me, he'd have to do it face to face. Then, as I turned off the lights that night, another message flashed on my phone. You survived, Darren. Let's see if you survive me. Sleep was impossible. I lay awake all night, replaying every threat, every warning, every moment where things could have been different. By morning, my nerves were stretched thin, but I was determined not to let fear win. My family needed me. My business, what was left of it, needed me. I decided to fight back. First, I met with Detective Maku and Shuka again at the police station. I'm tired of hiding, I told them. If Tunji wants a war, he'll get one. But this time I won't play his game. I'll use the truth. Shuka smiled. That's the spirit. But let's stay smart. We'll beef up security on all your accounts. And I'll file an injunction with the court. Any fake stories posted about you, we'll force social media to remove them fast. Maka nodded. We're already tracking his known online profiles. If he pops up again, we'll move. But even as they spoke, my phone kept buzzing. Threats, blackmail, even leaked videos that Tunji had faked. One showed me supposedly admitting to a scam, but my voice and mouth didn't match. I sent it to Maku's team. Deep fake, the tech guy said. But to someone who doesn't know you, it looks real. The next few days were a blur of chaos. I couldn't leave the house without people whispering. Clients called, asking if I was in trouble. Even my father's shop was spray-painted with ugly words. Thief. Liar. Run away. My mother was so scared, she refused to let my brother out her sight. It all came to a head on Friday. I got a call from my oldest client, Mr. Udo. Emmanuel, he said sadly. We've been friends a long time. But after all these stories, I can't risk my business. I have to end our contract. I tried to explain, but the damage was done. Tunji was winning. I felt so alone, like the whole world believed his lies. But then, something happened that changed everything. Leah called again, frantic and crying. I got a message from Tunji, she sobbed. He said he knows where my mother lives. He sent me a picture of her street. I'm scared, Emmanuel. Please help me. I felt a surge of anger and responsibility. Even after everything, I couldn't let Tunji destroy another innocent person. Where are you now? I asked. I'm at my aunt's house, she said. I turned off my phone's location, but I don't know if he can still find me. I texted Maku, and she sent an officer to watch Leah's family, just in case. We were on edge, waiting for Tunji to make his next move. Late that night, I got another message. This time, it was a live video feed. The screen showed Tunji, his face in shadow, sitting in front of a laptop covered with wires and flashing lights. Ready for your final lesson, Emmanuel? His voice echoed, distorted by a voice changer. Tomorrow, I erase you for good. Say goodbye to everything. Then the video switched. It showed the outside of my family's house live. Tunji was somewhere close. My breath caught in my throat. I ran to the window, heart pounding. Was he outside right now? I texted Detective Maku, and she responded instantly. Don't leave the house. Lock all windows and doors. We're tracking the signal. But Tunji was smart. He kept the camera moving, switching between angles. Every few minutes, the view changed from my office building to Leah's street to the cafe where my brother liked to hang out. He wanted me scared. He wanted to show he could reach me anywhere. But then I noticed something in the feed, a reflection in a car window as he moved the camera. It was quick, but I caught a glimpse of a street sign. Palm Crescent. I texted Maku. I saw a sign. Palm Crescent. Her team jumped into action. Within half an hour, the police had surrounded Palm Crescent. They moved door to door, quietly, until they found an apartment with heavy blackout curtains and the faint blue glow of computer screens shining through. They burst inside. Tunji was at his laptop, frantically typing commands. The officers grabbed him before he could hit the delete all button. It was over. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Tunji was arrested, his laptops and phones seized as evidence. Leah and her family were safe, and my family could finally step outside without fear. But the damage Tunji had done online wasn't easy to erase. News of his arrest spread, but people are slow to forget gossip and lies. My business was in shambles, my reputation battered. I had to start rebuilding from zero, but I wasn't alone anymore. Friends reached out, offering help. Clients who still believed in me promised to stay. My family hugged me tighter than ever before. One evening, as the sun set, I stood outside the same wedding hall that started it all, watching a new couple take their vows. I thought about everything I'd lost and everything I'd survived. But just as I started to feel hope, a police car pulled up beside me. Detective Maka got out, her face serious. "There's something you need to see," she said quietly. "We found something on Tunji's laptop, and I think you deserve the truth." My heart skipped. What could be left to discover? Detective Mako led me to her office, her expression unreadable. On her desk sat Tunji's laptop, surrounded by evidence bags, cables, and stacks of printed documents. She turned the screen toward me. "There's a folder here," she said softly. "It's called Project Reset. You need to see this for yourself." I opened the folder. Inside were hundreds of files, emails, photos, voice notes, and documents. At first, it looked like more of the same, proof of Tunji's campaign to ruin me. But as I read, a pattern started to emerge. There were emails between Darren and Tunji, dating back over a year before Leah and I ever had problems. It wasn't random. It wasn't about jealousy or just want to take my place. Darren and Tunji had planned the whole thing down to the last detail. I scrolled through message after message. "Darren, he trusts us. He'll never see it coming." "Tunji, I'll dig up old business dirt. You handle the girl." "Darren, once he's out of the way, we split the profits." No turning back. My stomach twisted. All the moments I thought were accidents, small betrayals, weird coincidences, none of them were random. Darren wanted everything I had. He just used my own trust, my own loyalty, as a weapon. There was even a file with instructions on how to fake the wedding venue transfer, how to hack my business email, and even how to scare Leah into silence if she got too close to the truth. But at the end of the folder was a video I hadn't seen before. Tunji's face appeared, filmed on a webcam, his eyes wild and desperate. "If you're watching this, I've probably lost," he muttered. "But you should know, Darren never planned to share. He was dependent all on me, on you, on anyone but himself. We were both his pawns." I leaned back in my chair, everything finally making sense. Detective Maka sighed. "With this evidence, there's no way Darren or Tunji can hurt you again. You can rebuild. It will take time, but you have your name, your family, and the truth on your side." It was strange. After all that had happened, after all the pain and fear, the truth didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. In fact, it felt like a heavy stone had finally been lifted from my chest. In the weeks that followed, the police released a public statement, clearing my name and confirming the arrests. The truth spread. Old clients returned, apologizing for doubting me. Friends who had kept their distance showed up at my door with food and hugs. Even strangers from a neighborhood smiled at me on the street. I spent time with my family, grateful every day that they were safe. Toby started smiling again. My father fixed a broken shop window, saying, "This is just glass, son. We're not broken." Leah left the city for a while, needing space to heal. We met once more, quietly, in a small cafe. "I'm sorry for everything," she whispered. "I hope you find someone who gives you the loyalty you always gave me." I forgave her, not because she deserved it, but because I needed to let go. I want a peace. Slowly, life found a new rhythm. My business picked up again. My family's laughter filled the house. I learned to trust, but also to protect myself a little better. One sunny Saturday, as I walked past the wedding hall, now busy with another happy couple, I realized I was free. My story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about survival, and learning that no matter how deep someone tries to bury you, the truth always finds a way to rise. I'd lost a best friend, a fiancé, almost everything I worked for. But I had gained something better, strength, wisdom, and the knowledge that even when the world seems to turn against you, you can start again. And as I watched the new couple step out into the sunlight, smiling and full of hope, I wished them the one thing I knew mattered most. Trust. Because if you have that, you have everything.